And I talk to people, they tell me that they're really tight at the supermarket. We don't want people not being able to afford good, healthy food, or the occasional treat. I mean, they're not likely to do champagne and caviar on a weekly basis. Most of us don't want that sort of thing anyway, but we intend to increase by $180 a fortnight the income of people on a pension. It's a very important thing, and they've deserved it. They've worked hard and they deserve to be well looked after. We tend to abolish student debt. I have 2 boys at universities, different universities, and I can tell you it costs a fortune. They still live at home, so I'm not having to pay their accommodation, etc. But these are kids amongst many other kids who are our future. They're there to learn, they're there to help out, to be part of the community. So the fact that there is no long-term debt, I know people who went to uni who still are paying off their debt.
So don't be fooled to thinking, oh, we're almost out of it. No. The WHO, and that's another policy of IMOP's, is meeting in Geneva with everybody as we speak for a week, and what they want to do is have control over every country on the planet. And I can tell you now, Boris Johnson's already said pretty much yes, this is going to happen. What does this mean for us? Well, we're a Commonwealth country, and you can pretty much guarantee that we're going to say yes to it as well. That means the WHO is going to be in charge of all of us if the Senate passes it. And this is what I'm hoping to become, to get into the Senate and block any future things like this that are going to hurt us. There's not that many of them, of the rich elite, that are telling us how to live our lives, but there is a lot more of us. And this is what we've got. We've got people power. There is way more of us than those elites. And we're the ones who can change things. So it's up to us to make that change. And one of the things that the WHO are hoping to do, if they get this power, is call a pandemic whenever they feel like. And make all of us vaccinate. It's wrong. These are our bodies. These are our choices. One of the other things I want to do, if I'm fortunate enough to get in, is I want to hold our politicians accountable.
Sack that Andrew!
Yeah, absolutely. We need to hold them accountable. Okay, what they've done, they're clearly not the public servants that they're supposed to be. And I believe a politician, they're public servants. Serve the people. Don't serve a higher power. Don't go serve some other billionaire on the other side of the world who has their own agenda for us. They can bugger off. A public servant serves the people. You do what's best for the people, the citizens of your state, your country, whoever you're representing. Not someone else. We have a few more days. Some of you might do early voting. I've got some information. We've got our preferences. I've got some leaflets. My partner here, Nicola, who's sitting down with the orange beanie, you can see her as well. But our preferences are marked out. What I urge you all to do is vote Freedom parties. Put the majors last. This election is different to every other one because basically people like me, and I was happy doing what I was doing, I wouldn't be here if they didn't stuff up so bad. If they just let us go on with our lives and do our jobs, I'd still be, selling garage doors to all the garage door businesses across the state. I wouldn't be here. I can tell you people like Morgan Jonas and everyone else who's all the other freedom parties, yesterday we were in the city, all the other guys who I've met, at least a couple of times each now, all of them are in the same boat. We're ticking along with life. Life was pretty good. Pay your tax, do your job, get on with your life, family, friends. We are here because of what the government has done. We are here because we need to stand up. We're just like you, we've just had enough. And instead of complaining to our friends, gone, bugger this, and being fortunate enough as well, there is a bit of luck involved, to have a platform, to have an opportunity to become part of a party, or for the ones who are independents, to do something about it. And we are doing our darndest to do something about it, because it has to happen. So when you go to the polls, when you do your voting, and it doesn't, obviously you're going to like some people more than others, and that's totally fine, but this year we can actually vote above the line on the Senate paper, and you need 6 for it to be a qualified vote. 6 parties above the line. And there is more than 6 freedom parties, independents, who think along the same lines. So you don't have to put any majors on there at all. It's never happened before. Never been this many. We've never had that freedom, never had that opportunity to do it. So make the most of it. Make them pay. I want not just Victorians and not just Australians, but Australia has become a bit of a focus across the world. There's a lot of attention, especially in America, and they're looking at us going, what the heck is going on in Australia? What's with all these lockdowns? What's this? What's that? I want us to send a message to the whole world that we have had enough, because I've had enough. And the fact that all of you good people have turned up today on a Sunday morning, you've had enough as well. You got questions, come up and ask them, come and say hello. But Nick Clonaridis, it's X, so when you look at your ballot paper and I say X marks the spot, so no donkey votes, we're not down that end of the ballot paper, we're down the other end, but X marks the spot in the Victorian Senate, and let's make a change. Thank you all and have a great day.
So the next person I'm going to introduce is Daryl O'Brien. So Daryl is from the Great Australia Party. I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Thank you, Annalise. Thank you, Cherie. Thank you all for coming today. And thank you, Nick, for that, your last introduction to IMOP. My name's Daryl O'Brien. I'm with the Great Australian Party. And I'm by trade, I'm a plumber, but for the last 20 years I've been quite concerned at the state of affairs within our government structure, which led me to create the Community Law Resource Group. And the aim of that group was to get the knowledge of the law out to you, the people, as ultimately, according to law, you are the highest authority, you are the supreme authority in this country. And that's enshrined into the Constitution. And that Constitution dictates very strongly what government can and what they cannot do. It is up to you to keep those people in check and balance. That Parliament belongs to you. They are there to represent your will. It is not their will. It is not the will of foreign powers. And in fact, that Constitution has been drafted to prevent foreign powers from stepping in and influencing any of your representatives in that Parliament. We know very well from past history how one vote in that Parliament can affect our lives and reverberate through our family very quickly, through taxation, through the imposition of fines, and as we've seen the last 2 years, they're now forcing medical treatments upon us. All of this is well and truly outside the limitations that the Constitution grants. My dedication, and those that have followed and helped me along the way in the last 20 years, their focus is also very much to help the community better understand what the law means to you and what you mean to the law. It's vital, this time more than any other in our history, that we start taking up that role as the supreme uncontrollable authority. Regardless of what these people may wish, regardless of what their policies may be, all of that, according to the law of this land, must be put aside. When a representative of you, the people, steps into that parliament, they are there to present your will, what the community requires. If they are found to be bypassing that instruction from that manual, then that manual very clearly states they are to be disqualified. Not at the next election, at any time throughout the term that they are standing in that House. And the Constitution grants you, the people, the power to be able to do that. Do not be afraid. The Great Australian Party's dedication is to educate you, the people, to bring that Constitution into every household in this country. That's the insurance policy that we need for our kids and for their kids. It's vital. Foreign powers do not have a place in this country. With that law in place, foreign ownership of our farms and of our properties is also out of place. We do not, and the law does not grant that authority. Our manufacturing industries must stay in this country. This is the richest country on this planet. It's been poorly administrated, and it's time that that stops. And it stops when you become aware of how to run that ship. You run that ship by instructing the representatives that go into that parliament. If you do not do that, then of course there's an open door for foreign powers to step in and look at the result. It's all around us. We are 2 seconds from midnight. We are losing our national estate. China and other interested parties are stepping in and taking over. There's a court case at the moment in Western Australia where the CCP is trying to put aside the foreign ownership laws in order to take a very large chunk of Western Australia. Is Channel 9 telling you this? Is the ABC telling you this? If not, why not? Are they part of the problem? I think they are. From my observations, they are. We have to turn our back on mainstream media. We have to spread the word to everybody that we are very close to losing this wonderful country. The Constitution was drafted with you as the predominant source, not the land mass as such. When the word Commonwealth comes through, that resonates, that means you, the people. When the Constitution talks about parts of states, that means you, the people. taxation, which is a power that the Parliament has to impose upon we the people, very clearly that Constitution says there can be no discrimination when it comes to drafting a taxation. Is that the case from your knowledge? No. Who here pays income tax? We all do. And GST. Now, depending upon the amount of money that you earn each year, the taxation rate varies. The law does not allow the Parliament or grant the Parliament the power to impose any form of taxation, but so as to discriminate. This is what's occurred for decades, for generations. This lie has been, this deception, this fraud has been there for all of us to fall victim to. We have to ask ourselves, why have we allowed this to happen? Why is it that we haven't been shown that law that allows us to control government? And we need to say enough. We need to say we now need to take control before we lose this ship totally. There are foreign powers knocking on that door. Why? Because this is a resource-rich country. We have let it slip. We only have ourselves to blame, but do not give up. Even if the monopoly in the form of the red, blue and the green get a voice after the 21st of this month, the Constitution still prevails. But it only has your voice as its true strength. And we would call upon our Senate to stand as the High Court of Parliament. And that court is the most powerful court in this country. Sections 49 and 50 grant that power. And our determination is to get that knowledge out to those who are sitting as our representatives, regardless of their party affiliation. Because Section 64 of the Constitution does not grant the power for a majority of a particular party to take what we have been led to believe is government. There is no such granted power. It doesn't matter whether the red, blue or green get a majority vote. The Constitution does not grant that majority the power to do anything more or less than any other representative in that House. Please, this is what's been, this lack of knowledge it's brought us to this point where these foreign powers are now physically getting all of us to go up and poison ourselves. This is how close we are. We're essentially consenting to genocide. It's not good enough. We only have ourselves to blame. Lick the wound, build the bridge, get over it, and we need to stand up and we need to tell them what they can and cannot do according to the law of this land. Either that law applies or we may as well give up. So do I have some sort of resonance here amongst me today to what I've said? Thank you. The Great Australian Party, when Rod Cullerton was in that house, I was his legal advisor. It was myself and Peter Gargan. In 2 months that we were in that house, put their necks through those nooses. We need to learn from the past and we need to move forward. And we need to forgive. These people have to be made to realise the errors of their ways. They need to realise that we are a community. We need each other. We each have skills that we need to put out into that community in order to have a fulfilling life. Government should be there purely as your servant. You need to take control of that government no matter what it takes. And this is our opportunity on the 21st of this month to take that step in that direction. Then and only then will we be able to take control of all levels of government and get rid of these ridiculous claims that they're putting upon us, become aware of the powers that government have granted through that Constitution. And like Nick said earlier, there is no authority to force medication on anybody, intrude between you and your doctor. There is no authority. Government is there to essentially pay the bills. When you require a particular service or an infrastructure, that Constitution grants the power of government to pay that bill. It's not to tell you no, we can't afford it, because that doesn't make any sense when we're sitting on the richest continent in the land. We only have to look at what this land has to offer. We've been made to shut down our access to the crude oil, the gases, the wealth that this country can show us. The Great Australian Party is dedicated to uncovering the truth behind our energy resources, not the mantra that we've been fed for decades about this stuff called crude oil. Before I started studying law, I was involved deeply with people who know the truth about that energy resource. And I'll tell you now, it's renewable. This is a piston-based world, whether we like it or not. And we've abused that piston, especially in third world countries, where it pollutes and we end up breathing in the products of that combustion. We know here in Australia how to fix that. We know how to fix it. And this is part of the Great Australian Party's mantra, is to get the truth out. We want complete transparency in government, no closed doors. The Constitution does not grant that. We need an ability for you, the people, to walk up to government and say, hey, I've come up with this new invention to do whatever. And we need the whole community to see what it is that individual's offering. We need transparency through all facets of government. Then and only then can we move forward as a community. This is such an important time. Our children need to wake up. Their children will benefit. It's a win-win situation when we do it according to the law. So promote what I've said. We do radio podcasts every week through Know Your Rights Group. on the internet. We've been out there on YouTube and Facebook and all of the social medias, so keep an eye on us. We want you to keep an eye on us. That's what your role is. Don't hesitate to ask us questions. Don't hesitate to come up and say, hey, listen, you know, what's going on here? Help me better understand what it is that you're saying. Because the law's also allowing us to do that. And as a member of this community, we need to be transparent. So thank you for having me here today.
So thank you to Christine, to Nick and to Daryl for coming along, and obviously if you want to go and speak to them, meet them if you've got questions, now's the time to do that. We're going to have a break.
Hello, my name's Rick Nicholson. I'm from the castle. We had a great speech from Daryl. I love Daryl. He actually started like the castle because he spoke of, g'day, I'm a plumber and this is my story. And he's a member with Rod Cullerton, and he actually gave a great world view of what's happening in world politics and how they're trying to steal the best country of all, Australia.
Excellent. Well, I was very impressed by the Great Australian Party spokesperson and also by the IMOP chap. They both said so much of what we're all feeling, and I just think more and more of these people need to have a voice in Parliament.
Beautiful.
We need to turn this country around, and we need to do it very, very quickly.
Thank you.
What I heard today that interested me was how I can assist IMOP in creating paperwork to help those people who have been wrongly sacked. Nothing I heard concerning elections is of interest to me because I'm not on the electoral roll and I'm not going to vote for a corporation.
I was really interested in the Great Australian Party because of all the illegal information that he was sharing with us.
Yes, I really like the Great Australian Party, and I actually went to Canberra and I heard Rod Cullerton speak there too, and I was impressed with him. Also really liked Nick. I thought he was really good. So yeah, both of them I loved. Yeah.
I think really what stood out is what we've been learning all along over the last several months is the whole thing with our understanding and knowing our Constitution and really knowing that what's going on, and that unfortunately a lot of these elected, they're not even leaders, we're learning that they're actually corporations, and there's all evidence, there's all information, you can find it out yourself. But we know now that we got to continue to do things legally, lawfully, and under our Constitution.
Today's been fantastic. What I've actually taken away from today is it's actually changed my my order of polling. I was very impressed with Nick from IMOP, who I resonated with in terms of standing up for your medical choice. And for me personally, I was terminated from my job based on a non-disclosure of my medical status, so I actually align with what Nick said today.